Shocking. That is the only word to describe the sinister, coordinated plot to take down South Africa's top police generals. The dark truth behind exactly why National Police Commissioner Fannie Masemola and Crime Intelligence Head Dumisani Khumalo were targeted has just been dragged into the light. State Advocate Drushantha Ramsamy just took the stand at the Madlanga Commission and completely spilled the beans, dropping a devastating bombshell about a massive attack launched from inside the state. The narrative pushed by attorney Andrea Johnson and rogue investigators is rapidly collapsing on national television, exposing what appears to be a deeply corrupt abuse of state power. The courtroom was left completely stunned as Ramsamy pulled back the curtain on the internal operations of the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, IDAC. She testified that former IDAC head attorney Andrea Johnson and chief investigator Dylan Perumal allegedly weaponized their own investigation tools, specifically to take down Masemola and Khumalo. The level of alleged manipulation is staggering. Ramsamy exposed how she was allegedly ordered to keep critical details, like the political killings task team, out of official documents just to keep things vague. Worse yet, she testified that Attorney Johnson deliberately instructed them to hide information from General Masemola, allegedly setting a trap to let him unknowingly lie to Parliament. When Ramsamy refused to play along with these highly questionable instructions, she claims she was sidelined and made redundant. This forces us to ask a terrifying question. Was IDAC hijacked by rogue elements to manufacture fake charges and clear the way for cartels to capture crime intelligence? While the establishment media tries to sweep this corruption under the rug, we are exposing the raw facts. If you are disgusted by this alleged abuse of power and demand that these rogue investigators face justice, drop a comment right now saying, "Expose IDAC." Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video everywhere before they try to silence Ramsamy's testimony. Let's dive straight into the courtroom where this political nightmare unfolded. Jabulani, roll the tape.
And then I had heard about Advocate Johnson's husband and Mr. Khan being friends. Then all of this happened. So I put 4 and 4 together, and I realized that there were other aspects at play, which made me even more cautious with my note-taking, my written objections, notifying management of how procedures are not being followed. And the mere fact that the Feroz Khan affidavit in the Lushaba matter was kept from me. There's an email to that effect where I'm saying I'm not even made aware of it. I've now had 2 court appearances. I have replied to requests for further particulars. So when I disclose this, it's going to look like I'm hiding information from the defense. So I also vocalized my concerns about General Khan's involvement. It also became very clear his agenda when I started reading his affidavits. And I put so in 2 memos, that he's only speaking about his own issues. So I do believe that he had influence on these matters and how they progressed.
The investigations and the decisions to prosecute.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And when you say I must control, is that what Advocate Johnson is saying in the meeting, I must control? Or
Correct.
Are you making a note for yourself that you must control?
No, if it was a side note, I make a little circle or a bubble above it. But if it's just like this, then it's instructions from Advocate Johnson.
Okay.
Before you leave your note at page 5, did Advocate Johnson say why the National Commissioner should be left to lie? What was the plan, the idea behind let him go lie to Parliament and then what?
Like I said in statement 1, Commissioners, it looked and obviously became evident that there was a line of march, and that line of march was to get General Khumalo and General Masemola in an accused box. And so obviously, at some point there was talk about if he lies at portfolio committee, but this is well after. I think this is in February or March, and this was just between Padiachi and myself and Mr. Perumal, where if he lies, we can at least charge him for perjury.
He would have lied to a committee of parliament, which in itself is an offense.
So the plan was to set him up.
In essence, it was. That was the instructions. Don't tell him, let him go and lie.
So that he can be arrested and charged.
Correct.
And be presented to court.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, then back to your statement.
Thereafter, Advocate Johnson relayed an incident that occurred when she attended the Minister of Police residence for a meeting either a day or 2 days before the 22nd of January 2025 meeting. I will deal with this under the investigation of Mr. Nkabinde. Suffice to state that for present purposes, that I do not know what was.
You have 3 bullet points. The second bullet point on your note says CI IDAC equals is the state capture. And then the next bullet circumvented in an arrow in anticipation of. What was she discussing there?
Advocate Johnson was telling Advocate Surunya, Advocate Schlatzwayo and myself that the crime intelligence investigation done by IDAC is actually state capture, and that's the reason IDAC was created, formed, and that these matters, these specific matters, were state capture. And she kept repeating state capture. With regards to circumvented, she's speaking about the promotions and the ads being withdrawn with regards to the Mokwele matter and then re-advertised externally. So circumvented meaning that, and it was in anticipation of. And then there was an explanation that Brigadier Mokwele's father works for the Hawks and that he was charged for trying to bribe another official.
What was said to be the relevance of her father's employment in the Hawks and being charged?
What was they were trying to explain here was that the quid pro quo would then be equated to the fact that General Khumalo was giving gratification to Brigadier Mokwele's father by appointing her.
And there's a reference to, it says, there's a docket that relates to her father, and then it says uncle and Labia. What is the reference to Labia? Is that General Labia?
Yes, there's a docket that relates to her uncle. It's supposed to be a slash or father, and the docket is with General Labia, or they're going to obtain the docket through General Labia. Now going to the block that I had explained to Advocate Ncube. So we in Advocate Johnson's office, and we're sitting at the boardroom table and we're discussing. Advocate Johnson is now giving instructions about what must happen in the 3rd week, because remember, every 2nd week she wanted arrests. Advocate Johnson looks at me and she says, "Drew, you'll be embarrassed to be Indian." So I was taken aback because I was busy taking notes, and I didn't know that they were talking about the person who's acting as in Mr. Khan's place. It's a Miss Krishna Dutt.
General Khan's position, yes.
Correct. It's a Miss Krishna Dutt.
Brigadier Krishna Dutt.
Thank you. So Advocate Johnson says, Drew, you'll be embarrassed to be Indian. The way she walks around talking to the staff, you'll be embarrassed. And then I'm told that I must, when I'm getting to the point of enroll or looking at the evidence for the vetting, because Brigadier Krishnadat is acting as the head of the vetting department at the moment, I must look if there's evidence to charge Krishnadat.
As part of CI7 in the Mokwele matter?
Either CI7 or the other two.
Okay, so one of the vetting matters.
That is why it's there in that block the way it is.
And who is Brigadier Krishnadat?
So from that conversation in Advocate Johnson's office, Advocate Johnson then said, when she was explaining how Brigadier Krishnadat speaks to this staff and why I'd be embarrassed and all of that, she indicated Junaid is reporting to her. So at that time, I already knew that Junaid is Mr. Johnson, Advocate Johnson's husband.
And the issue with Brigadier Krishnadat is that she was promoted to brigadier before Brigadier Johnson.
I came to learn that after, when I was inquiring as to what exactly is up with, because it's the first time I'm hearing the name. We now already almost 6 months into the investigation. It's not on the 2830. It is in July 2023 that I realized that if I may just quote, when Captain McLean found out that I was going to be working with Advocate Johnson so closely and with the Eastern Cape team, because he had previously worked with them, and because I was working on multiple matters with him. He called me aside and he spoke, we had coffee, and he said to me, "You're naive." And I agreed. I was new to the environment. IDAC was very new to me. I was coming from the regional courts. This was a specialized unit that had its own set of rules. And he said to me, if you don't be careful, if you don't ensure that you document and they will ruin your career. And so in a way, it opened my eyes to observing more than believing. But I believe that because in 2023 in July, when we received the first 27, the only other one that I dealt with, I had the support of Binang Tumane Binang and Mansara Peso. So whenever Mr. Perumal tried to deviate or tried to, what is the word that Mr. Rapeso used? Run tricks. The three of us backed each other to ensure that the investigation was in line and lawful. So when I spoke about being chosen for this diversion project, in hindsight, now that I've looked at all the evidence and I've replayed conversations between myself and Advocate Johnson as well as Mr. Perumal, I am of the opinion that they were attempting to groom me into a prosecutor that would follow that line of march.
And when you say that line of march, what do you mean?
Do as you're told, but prosecute with the skill that you have.
Okay, so basically Mr. Perumal would be calling the shots and you must just do the prosecutorial aspect of it. Utilize your skill, but don't ask questions.
Correct.
Okay.
That is, in hindsight, that is how I'm sitting back. With regards to the demeanor, I've reached a point emotionally where I would rather laugh or smile at the circumstances, as serious as it is, than cry. And I don't want to seem like I'm a victim by crying while I'm trying to assist the Commission in their findings. So I do ask for understanding that it has been a very tough road, and I'm choosing not to be emotional. So if I do smile or if I do laugh under certain serious topics, please forgive me.
I don't think it's the Commission's forgiveness that you're seeking, but
You see,
To the public at large. It also, it came across, or the comments were that I was being vindictive and I was enjoying the downfall. I was not. When I speak about certain things, I remember the circumstances in which, and I will explain that aspect and what was done and what was said and how it was said. And so I try to rather laugh about it than cry about it.
what I will say to you is that with comments on social media, my sense is that you can never win, even where preponderantly comments are positive. There will be the few negative comments. If you let those get to you, then you are in trouble.
I think it was
So-
more the response of the office I have to return to.
Or the office.
Office.
I think Mr. Sigels mentioned social media.
It's both, but
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're also reading it, and I'm getting messages from the office.
So I assume asking for, what did you say, pardon? No, I'm not sure of the word you use.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. I'm not sure that that's directed to us, because I don't think there's anything to forgive. Yeah, I see my colleagues nodding. So from where we are sitting, we see you've not done anything wrong.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair,
So
and thank you, Commissioners.
those who may be of the view that you did wrong, they do hear you. I hope they will forgive you.
Thank you. We would have to do a new 28. So I said, no, but why? Why would we need to, why can't we do an addendum? Because an addendum is contractually binding, and it would make sense because we discovered it during the course of. And so there was a meeting that was set up with Advocate Johnson, and we asked her, should we do another new 28? So then I asked, but can't I do an addendum? And she said it was fine. The addendum was drafted, it was attached and filed to the original 28. And that is the process we followed with 3 other of my matters.
So that addendum would be a foundation and an explanation how you end up with these new other people that were not in the original. Thank you.
but in this instance, if the Section 27 affidavit that you saw didn't have the allegations contained that you see in some of the A1s in the dockets, what do you do then if the decision is then made that, well, even though it's not in the Section 27 affidavit, because it's in the dockets that have been referred, we should still investigate it? What would the process then be?
I would have still asked to do an addendum, but because in my 2813, and I'm standing by it, the original 27 had PKTT and slush fund and polygraph. That 2813 stood. However, my concerns were about what substantiated it. We know you've got resources. I've got interlocutories, I've got high court applications, I've got trial matters to be attended to, and I'm dealing with something that doesn't have substantiation.
And in your 2813, you don't mention the PKTT.
I was told specifically not to mention PKTT.
Was that in the, okay, so let's just step back. So you do the 2813 on the 6th. At that stage already, you didn't mention PKTT. Was that a specific instruction, or was it to keep the 2813 vague?
It was to keep the I was, in the 2813, I was not allowed to mention detail. I was told, keep it vague.
Okay, so even though, okay, that makes more sense. I just wanted to confirm that it